श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे। तोमा बिना के दयालो जगत संसारे। पतिता पावना है तू तब अवतारा। मौसम पतिता प्रभु न पाइबे यारा। हा हा प्रभु नित्यानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी। कृपावलोकन करो আমি বড় दुखी। दया करो सीतापति अद्वैत गोसाई। जय सीतानाथ। तव कृपा बल पाय चैतन्य निताय। गौरांगेर निज शक्ति पंडित गदाधर। श्रीनिवास हरिदास मोरे कृपा कर। श्रीनिवास हरिदास मोहे कृपा कर। आशरो सनातन रूप रघुनाथ। भट्ट जुगा श्री जीवा प्रभु लोकनाथ। दया करो श्री आचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास। Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama Dasa Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More Tama Bina Ke Dayalo Jagata Sansare Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada ki Grantaraj Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Om Namo Bhagavate Gaurachandraya Om Namo Bhagavate Gaurachandraya Om Namo Bhagavate Gaurachandraya Achaitanyamidam Vishwam Yadik Chaitanyamishwaram. So we're reading from Madhilila of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 2, verses 32 to 35. I think verse 35 will probably be on the board because that has got a purport. It's a very, I wouldn't call it esoteric, extremely technical topic. So I seek the blessings of my mentors for being able to present it as per the conclusions of scriptures and acharyas for your pleasure and for my purification. Grantara Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki. So here we are discussing about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's situation where Kahana Ishwari Jai Bhave Vikar
Shai Bhava Hai Prabhur Shatsar Prachar. The extraordinary transformations of the body due to transcendental feelings would never have been possible for anyone but the Lord. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, in whose body all transformations were manifested. So he was staying in Gambhira. It was very difficult to keep him in one place. They would even keep him locked up in a very interior corridor room, and the next morning you would find him at Simhadwar or some other place. And extraordinary transformations never seen before. So, and it went to a point where he started lamenting in separation from the Lord. Our movement is all about lamentation. Interestingly, we talk about going back to the Supreme Lord. जिन भक्तों को अंग्रेजी समझने में दिक्कत होती है, पीछे हमारे विज्ञान विहारी प्रभु अनुवाद कर रहे हैं, कृपया उसका लाभ उठा सकते हैं. So, our movement is all about lamentation. It's in fact, Srila Gaura Goswami Maharaj wrote a book called The Embankment of Separation. And he said that we are building these temples in Iskcon for what? To cry for Krishna. So, of course, we do cry for all the wrong reasons. Atmendriya priti vacha tare balikam, Krishnendriya priti cha dhare premana. When we try for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, that is called prema. When we crave for our pleasure, it is called kama. So when we cry most often, it is because we are not able to fulfill our requirements, our desires. So, because of that, we may, I shouldn't say we, there may be many people who will cry because they have material desires. To the extent that even great exalted Vaishnavas like Sri Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Kamanam Hritya Samruham Bhavadastu Pranevaram. My dear Lord, O great monarch of the granter of benedictions, Varam Swam Varadarshava, Yadi Dasyasi Me Kaman. If you want to give me some desire, benediction to fulfillment, what should you give? Kamanam Hritya Samruham Bhavadastu Pranevaram. Let there be no material desires in my heart. So that is the lamentation of a Vaishnava. Srila Prahlad Maharaj goes one step further and says he is lamenting for all those Naivodvijay, about those people who are stuck on this side of the Vaitarani and may never cross that Vaitarani. So for such people he is lamenting. So this is another form of lamentation. But the lamentation and allied feelings that have been expressed by the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are unprecedented. Unprecedented means something that has never been witnessed before. Unprecedented, unparalleled and inimitable. It should not be copied. Like there are, sometimes in the television shows long back, I remember, there should be action serials and all that, and they would put one disclaimer, don't try this at home. So it is like that. We shouldn't try this at home. Our home is ashram. We shouldn't try to do the kind of thing. Baleshwar is saying Shaktiman. Yes, we are talking about Shaktiman, but the real one. So he is saying that we shouldn't be imitating those forms of activities expressed by the Supreme Lord. Although Apari Acharya Prabhu Shikhana Shabayama, he set the principle and the mood for how we should practice Krishna consciousness. Nija bhakti karam priyacharu karam natanartana nagara rajakulam. He performed his own devotion to set an example. And Nija bhakti gunavrata natyakaram. He danced along with his devotees also, just to set an example. So these are all explained in detail in the scriptures. Now let's get into the few shlokas which lead up to this. So these are some shlokas narrated by the Supreme Lord. I mean, it's extraordinary. When we are lamenting, we may say, depending on which part of India, we may say, oh ma, or ayyo, depending on which part of the country you are in. but if you say, oh, incidentally, ayyo is the wife of Yamaraj, as per some scriptures. So you have to be careful before you use the word ayyo. So I just thought we will go a little light before we get into some heavy stuff, so that we are a little bit more receptive. But when the Supreme Lord starts lamenting, or when the Acharyas start lamenting, they write poetry or they quote from shlokas from the scripture. So here, Ramananda Rai, who is none other than Vishaka Sakhi or Arjuni Sakhi or Arjuni Gopi or Arjuna Sakha, some persons say he is even Lalita. So, as per the scriptures, it's an exalted personality. And the Supreme Lord used to hear from him and Swarup Damodar Gosai about the most intimate ecstasies and separation with the Supreme Lord. So he wrote a wonderful semi-kavya called Jagannatha Vallabha Nataka. It's like a play come poetry. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started quoting verses from that. So one shloka after another. I mean, when we are crying for ourselves, we can't even, our mind gets disillusioned, disoriented. We won't be able to think. Now the Supreme Lord, even when you say Katha, Ganam, Natyam, Gamanamapi, Vamshi, Priyasakhi, even Nitya Siddhas at a certain level, where what they speak becomes a song. What to speak about the Supreme Lord? Whatever he speaks will be definitely a song. So he is saying, it's mentioned in verse 27, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lamented in a great ocean of sadness. Our oceans of sadness, even at the death of a near one, will elapse after 13 days or the next best TV serial or the next few days, whatever. But here, it's unending. One thing is Ananda Anubhuti Vardhanam, but it's not Ananda alone. The Ananda that is experiencing is also from lamentation. That is also unending. Because the Lord is unending, the emotions he is experiencing are also unending. That is why Adapeha Shailila Kore Gorarai Kona Kona Bhagavan Dekivare Pai. Even today, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his glorious followers are setting this example. Very, very few fortunate people can actually realize this. I make it a point to quote this shloka. This is my favorite shloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I mean, not Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Chaitanya Leela. So, Mahaprabhu is saying, Sri Krishna Rupati Nishevanam Vina Vyarthani Mehana Kilendriyanyalam Pashana Sukshayendana Bharakanyaho Vibharmivatani Katham Hatatrapaha. My dear friends, unless I serve the transcendental form, qualities and pastimes of Sri Krishna, all my days and all my senses will become entirely useless. When we say Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam, why? Now I am uselessly bearing the burden of my senses, which are like stone blocks. Shushke Endana Bharakanyaho. Pashana Shushke Endana. Pashana is stone, Indhana is wood, Shushka is dry. My senses are like that. Bharakanyaho, they are so burdensome. And then what is he saying? Bibharmi va tani katham hatatrapaha. I do not know how long I will be able to continue without shame. Without shame. And many of us know how long we can continue without shame. But sometimes it takes Vaishnava association to make us understand that we have to have some shame. And then goes on. Vamsi ganamrita dhama lavanyamrita janmasthana yena deke sei chanda vadana Shenayane ki bhakaja padukatara munde vaja Shenayana rahe ki karana. Of what use are the eyes of one who does not see the face of Krishna, which resembles the moon and is the birthplace of all beauty and the reservoir of the nectarian songs of his flute? Oh, let a thunderbolt strike his head. Why does he keep such eyes? So that's why when we have darshan of the Lord, it's called Nayana Utsav. It's a real festival for the eyes. Because he is Bhushanam Bhushanangam. The Supreme Lord, he makes the ornaments become ornaments. So, like if you go to many Divya Deshams of the Sri Vaishnavas, they call it Alankaras. Even in Jagannath Puri, they call it Alankara. When you say Shringar, it's called Alankara, ornament. In poetry also, there is something called Alankara because it embellishes the poem. It makes it better. Quite similarly, we think that when you put an abharana, when we offer any paraphernalia to the Lord in the altar, we say idam abharanam, and then the mantra, mula mantra, we say that. But really speaking, it is not. the abharana that is adding value to the Supreme Lord. It is the Supreme Lord who is Bhushanam Bhushanam. He is making it beautiful. And even these emotions, the emotions look beautiful on someone who is an advanced devotee. But the Supreme Lord is even making these emotions beautiful. And so, Sakhi Shuna Mora Hata Vidhi Bala, I don't know the meter, it's a little. Sakhi Shuna Mora Hata Vidhi Bala, Mora Vapo Chitta Mana, Sakala Indriya Gana, Krishna Venu Sakala Vipala. My dear friends, please hear me. I have lost all providential strength. Without Krishna, my body, consciousness and mind as well as all my senses are useless. When will that day come? Krishnera Madhura Vani Amritera Tarangini Tara Pravesha Nahi Ye Shravane Kanakadi Chidra Shama Jani Hase Shravana Tara Janma Haila Akarane. Topics about Krishna are like waves of nectar. Bhakti, Rasa, Amrita, Sindhu. If such nectar does not enter one's ear, the ear is no better than the whole of a damaged conch shell. Such an ear is created for no purpose. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada quotes from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd and 3rd chapters, verses 17 to 24. The first verse is very critical for us. The very first verse is Ayur Haradivai Pumsam Udyanastarna Yat Nasau Tasyarte Yat Shnonita UTTAMSHLOKA Vartaya. So, of what use are those lives which are reduced every day in terms of the lifespan by the rising and setting of the sun, except those who have filled their lives with what? UTTAMSHLOKA Vartaya, by the glories of the Supreme Lord. Or like Brahmaji says, Sthane sthitam shruti katam tanuvan manobhir jivan disan mukarida bhavatiya varta. Bhavatiya varta. We should fill our lives with glorifications of the Supreme Lord. And that will make us experience these emotions. We will learn from Bhakti Rasamrita Sundar if we get the time. I don't know how much time we'll have to get into detail. It's slightly technical. It actually requires a full-fledged course. And I guess His Grace Mohan Prabhu has already started a course in Bhakti Rasamrita Sundar. So we should understand in terms of how technical these emotions are. The emotions can be very, very technical. It is not some few navarasas that Bharata Muni talks about. That is okay for normal dance. But many of these rasas are also borrowed from Natya Shastra. Scriptures say. But it is presented by the acharyas in a spiritual context. And so, our life is a waste if we don't fill our life with transcendental topics of the Supreme Lord. UTTAMSHLOKA Vartaya. And for Mahaprabhu it's easy. Even if he doesn't do anything, he talks about himself out of pride, it is still UTTAMSHLOKA Vartaya because he is the UTTAMSHLOKA. But we don't have that liberty. I was just sending my sadhana report to one of my mentors, and I had written in that Prajalpa and time wasting. One day I wrote Prajalpa and time wasting nil. Just wrote, maybe out of some pride. So I got a reply saying anything other than Krishna is Prajalpa. That was the reply I got. So then I re-evaluated whether it is actually I did Prajalpa or not. So in other words, whatever we do has to be focused on the Supreme Lord's name, form, qualities, pastimes, paraphernalia, associates, etc. Nam, Roop, Gun, Leela, Sadh, Sajja, Sangha, Parikara, everything. So, text 32, which is where we start. Krishna Radha Ramrita, Krishna Guna Charita, Sudasara Swayada Vinindana, Tara Swadayena Jana Janmiyana, Mailakane, Serasana Bheko Jiva Shama. The nectar from the lips of Lord Krishna and his transcendental qualities and characteristics surpass the taste of the essence of all nectar. A taste of the essence of all nectar. Nectar is itself taste is called nectarian. Nectarian is itself an adjective. Nectar is so tasty. Now the essence of nectar, how tasty will it be? And it's mentioned that The nectar from the lips of Lord Krishna, Adharamrita, Krishna's Adharamrita, surpasses even this. And there is no fault in tasting such nectar. There is no fault. Meaning to have a laulyam. Tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam. That greed is what we need to have. It's not wrong to have that greed. Somebody has asked me a question yesterday, is it okay to have spiritual desire? I said, great, if you have spiritual desire, at least start having. What do you mean, is it okay to have? The whole problem is we don't have spiritual desires. So, if one does not taste it, he should die immediately after birth. Oops. So soon the world population will be finished, if this is what it is. And his tongue is to be considered no better than the tongue of a frog. Beka jikva shama, like a frog. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport to the very first verse of Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction of Rupa Goswami, that talking about Vacho Vegam, which is the very first quality that every spiritualist should develop. I heard this from his Mandir Prabhu once. He said, at least start with controlling Vacho Vegam. If you are getting into Krishna consciousness, at least you should have an idea that how to control Vacho Vegam. Should start. Of course, he had specific reasons because he was telling a particular person, which is me. So, in that purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about how the croaking of the frog attracts the snake, which means when we Ayur Harati Vaipumsam, that is what it is. The snake of death will capture us if we spend our time discussing Gramya Katha, which we shouldn't believe. We shouldn't speak Gramya Katha. So, I suddenly remember when I say Adharamrit, one good fortune we have is Krishna Prasadam, Srila Prabhupada's great contribution. This is a kitchen religion, Prabhupada says. So we get the Prasadam. That is also Krishna's Adharamrita. So we should not hesitate to honor Prasadam. Doesn't mean in terms of quantity, but in terms of opportunity. Like I've quoted this several times, how Her Grace Yamuna Mataji once said that the moment you honor a grain of Krishna Prasadam in the right consciousness, you are already an inseparable part of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. So for those of us who speak too much during Prasadam and try to catch up with our friendly banter during Prasadam, it's something to meditate on. It's nice to play. I keep hearing how Srila Prabhupada would never talk so much during Prasadam. He would spend time between him, Prasadam, and which is Krishna, him and Krishna. So that's very, very critical. There are many Vaishnavas who hear Krishna Katha during Prasadam. We also have incidentally a devotee who spends about 20 minutes of his time reading from Shastra. So if your graces have some time, you might want to listen to that instead of each other's voices. So this is very important, and we shouldn't waste our time on trying to look at topics which are way beyond our control. And we are not talking about spiritual topics. We discuss politics, we discuss cricket scores, we discuss stock market indices. None of this is in our control. The government laws are not in our control. Taxation norms are not in our control. Cricket scores are definitely not in our control. It's not even in the control of the people playing. So we should instead focus on what we can control, which is karmanya eva adhikaraste. This shloka is for devotees, which is why they are called sadhakas. We should focus on our sadhana. Jai Shri Radha Parthsarthi Governor. I was waiting for Sitaram to open to glorify them also, which is a request to all the Brahmanas among Brahmacharis. Please budget some time and try to visit the altar. It's a nice place. We have God inside. You might want to serve Him. It will be purification. There are so many other ways to get purified also, but does not mean you don't go to the altar and focus on only those means. So please try. Mrigamada nilotpala milane parimala jai Hare tara garva mana hena Krishna angagandha jara nahi shesham bandha shei nasha bhashtra rasamana. One's nostrils are no better than the bellows of a blacksmith. Oops. if one has not smelled the fragrance of Krishna's body, which is like the aroma of musk combined with that of the bluish lotus flower. Extraordinary. Imagine what kind of smell it will be. Indeed, such combinations are actually defeated by the aroma of Krishna's body. And then in the next verse, Krishna kara padatala koti chandra sushitala tarasparsha jenasparshamani tarasparsha nahi jara sejauka chara khara seva pulaha samajani. The palms of Krishna's hands and the soles of his feet are so cool and pleasant that they can be compared only to the light of millions of moons. Koti chandra sushitala. One who has touched such hands and feet has indeed tasted the effects of touchstone. If one has not touched them, his life is spoiled and his body is like iron. It says, Loha samajani. It's like iron. You don't say like when somebody's iron man is very strong, determined. It's not like that. I mean, it's not at all worth it, that sense. Because iron can rust also. So this is the understanding. And so we come to today's verse, very critical. Karyata vilapana prabhu shachi nandana ughadiya hridayera shoka daina nirveda vishade hridayere avasade punarapi padayeka shloka. We will not get this shloka repeated because we can get more into the topic. Lamenting in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened the doors of grief within his heart. Kari eta vilapana ughadiya hridera shoka. I don't know how it's pronounced. Ughadiya. Ughadiya means he's opening. What is he opening? Hridayera shoka. Opening the lamentation of the heart. Brahma Buddha Prasanatma na shochati na kankshati. That lamentation is for Badajivas. At a Brahma Buddha platform there is no shoka. But then if somebody is at that level, Samasarvesu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktir Labate Param. From that platform one can go to Krishna consciousness. And in Krishna consciousness it is okay to have shochati and kankshati. That shochati is for lamenting. Ai Dina Dayadar Nath Hare, like Madhavendra Puri was lamenting. I have lost Krishna in my heart. Like Dhruv Maharaj could not find him in his heart. He was standing in front of him, Krishnagarbha Vishnu. Or like Narada Muni as a young boy, son of a Shudrani. After being cursed as Upabarhana Gandharva, the Supreme Lord disappeared from his heart as well, and then he started searching for him all the time. Or like Parishit Maharaj found the Supreme Lord protecting him from Brahmastra in Uttara's womb, and he kept looking for him all his life as the examiner Parikshit. Now, that sort of lamentation is fine, looking for the Supreme Lord. So, lamenting this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened the doors of grief within his heart. Morose, humble and disappointed. Dainya, Nirveda, Vishade. These three emotions. Dainya, Nirveda and Vishada. These are explained in detail, and also Avasada is explained in the purport. Not so much in detail. So if we have the time, we will get into at least one or two emotions of spiritual nature. Because we shouldn't Korena alas, we shouldn't do about studying Shastra Vichar. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the word Dainya or humility is explained as follows. When unhappiness, fearfulness and the sense of having offended combine, one feels condemned. This sense of condemnation is described as dinata or humility. When one is subjected to such humility, he feels physically inactive. He apologizes and his consciousness is disturbed. His mind is also explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. One may feel unhappiness and separation as well as jealousy and lamentation due to not discharging one's duties. That's interesting, right? How many of us actually feel lamentation for not discharging our duties? It's a question for introspection. So it's mentioned When unhappiness, fearfulness and the sense of having offended combine, one feels condemned. This sense of condemnation is described as dinata, humility. When one is subjected to such humility, he feels physically inactive, he apologizes and his consciousness is disturbed. His mind is also restless and many other symptoms are visible. The word nirveda is also explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. One may feel unhappiness and separation as well as jealousy and lamentation due to not discharging one's duties. This is nirveda. The despondency that results is called nirveda. The despondency that comes from these emotions is called nirveda. When one is captured by this despondency, thoughts, tears, loss of bodily luster, humility and heavy breathing result. Vishada is also explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, like we have Arjuna Vishada Yoga, which is the first part of Gita. When one fails to achieve his desired goal of life and repents for all his offenses, there is a state of regret called Vishada. The symptoms of Avasada are also explained. One hankers to revive his original condition and inquires how to do so. There are also deep thought, heavy breathing, crying and lamentation, as well as a changing of the bodily color and drying up of the tongue. Not to be confused with the original. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 33 such destructive symptoms are mentioned. They are expressed in words, in the eyebrows and in the eyes. These symptoms are called Vyabhichari Bhava, destructive ecstasy. What? Destructive ecstasy. I had a friend who keeps, one of my godbrothers, we got initiated on the same day. He says, when I see him chant, I say, chanting in such ecstasy. And of course, this is a famous line, all of you know in Iskcon. Ecstasy nahi Prabhu, aisi ki taisi. So, we are at that situation. We are not at ecstasy state. These symptoms are called Vyabhichari Bhava, destructive ecstasy. If they continue, they are sometimes called Sanchari or continued ecstasy. So, this is wonderful signs of Krishna consciousness. Jai Krishna Tattavita Shai Guru Hoy. So our Rasacharya Rupa Goswami Pada has presented Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has a commentary written on it by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. It is an essence of the nectar. So, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, southern section, which is the first wave, the fourth verse says, Athasya Keshavaratir Lakshitaya Negatyate Samagri Pariposhyana Parama Rasa Rupata. So this talks about Rati or Bhava. Bhava we know, Bhava comes a state below Prema. But it's also called Sthai Bhava. The Rasa, it's called Sthai Bhava. So this Sthai Bhava takes on the highest Rasa through nourishment by the following ingredients. What are the ingredients? One is called Vibhava, one is called Anubhava, one is called Sattvika Bhava, and one is called Vyabhichari Bhava. These four are accompanying. And the Rati for Krishna, or we say Sri Guru Charane Rati. The Rati for Krishna starts with Rati to Guru. This Rati for Krishna, it is called Sthai Bhava. This Sthai Bhava takes a pleasurable emotion in the hearts of devotees. How does it take this pleasurable state? Through Vibhavas, Anubhavas, Sattvika Bhavas and Vyabhichari Bhavas that we talked about. Now, how does this happen for us? What is the process that we are doing that will help us develop this Bhava? Who can say? What process are we doing that is putting us on that path? Yeah. Vedic? Sadhana Bhakti? Okay, Vedic Sadhana Bhakti, yes. Sorry? Panchanga Bhakti? Okay, get more specific. Yes. Nam Sankirtan, we are very, very close. Generally, Acharya said Shravanam. Because Srila Prabhupada would say, there was a Ashtanga yogi who used to say, what is your process? And Srila Prabhupada said, our process starts with hearing of the transcendental sound vibration. So if we want to understand these topics better, we should be hearing the transcendental sound vibration. When you are chanting japa, when we are listening to Srimad Bhagavatam classes or Bhagavad Gita classes or Shastra in general, and reading is also hearing, so when we do it attentively, so that is also very good. And we can see in Ashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. It's an amazing feeling. Like recently, we've started in my daily online class, we do Bhagavatam study. There is no class. Just reading from Prabhupada's purport. Read the shloka, translation purport. Shloka, translation purport. We just keep, it's a study group. And trust me, it's so much more purifying. So much more purifying than any of the other things that I have done in recent time for myself. Right? Srimad Bhagavatam is so powerful. It's such a wonderful feeling. Because you don't put in your Chavanni Athanni as you say. It's Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports. You just read them, study them. So Acharyas are saying that the Sthai Bhava takes in a very relishable nature. Rasasvadana. How does it happen? It is nourished in an amazing manner by the process of transcendental hearing. So Shravanam is very, very important. That is why Dhruva Maharaj, after having had darshan of the Supreme Lord, Krishna Garbha Vishnu, what did he say? Bhaktir muhu prabhahatam tvai me prasango bhuyor anandam mahatam abalashayanam enam jashol manam urubhyasanam bhavabdim neshe bhavat gunakatham panamattaha. He is asking for the opportunity to hear these transcendental topics in the association of Vaishnavas. He is not saying, my dear Lord, please be with me all the time. No. Because he has already seen the Lord. What is critical is therefore to hear about the Lord. And that is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to hear about Dhruva Charita. Hearing about the person who wanted to do hearing. That's very, very auspicious. So we should, one of the important means to develop a taste for hearing is to also glorify the process of hearing. Very, very crucial for us. And so, Acharyas also say, both Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Rupa Goswami, that the taste for Bhakti Rasa, the sense of Bhakti Rasa, through Rati and beyond that to Prema, it comes not just through what we perform in this life. Many times it is also supported and strengthened by what we have done in our previous births. So sometimes we see people relishing the holy name more, or relishing Bhagavatam more, even among our contemporary acharyas of Iskcon also. So we have to be very clear that many of these people are just continuing from where they left off. So it becomes easy for them. Both the acharyas mentioned this. And it's clearly mentioned, though in this life itself, Rati appears in persons who have surrendered to Guru, surrendering to Guru and practice Bhakti. Rati appears in their heart also, but it really appears, we can clearly say that it also appears in the heart of those who have experienced these actions in previous lives. It's a very humble mic. Keeps going to me. So, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions about the general characteristics of the ingredients. When we want to taste the Rati, what all is required? His devotee and the sound of the flute, they are called vibhavas. There will be no quiz at the end of it, but just FYI for your information. So it's devotees who give us the taste or the flavor of this Bhakti Rasa or Krishna's own Venu. They are called vibhavas. The effects of Rati, such as smiling, etc., they are called anubhavas, because anubhavas are not just emotions of the heart, they also involve a role of the intellect. So those are anubhavas. And then there are ashta sattvika vikara, which we hear about so much. Romanchakam pashutaranga bhajo vande guru shri charanaravindam. So all these, romancha, kampana, all these ashta sattvika vikara. Yesterday I had the good fortune of being asked to sing in front of the deities in the evening. And suddenly from behind there was one Mataji who was screaming in ecstasy. And after 2 minutes she went out. So we are not talking about ashta rajasika bhava, we are talking about ashta sattvika bhava, ashta sattvika vikara. So these are all accompanying. And what is critical, the assistance of these emotions, like self-criticism, oh no, I have no feeling for Krishna, etc. They are called Vyabhichari Bhava. Now let me just define Vyabhichari Bhava, because Prabhupada has already explained that there are 33 types of Vyabhichari Bhavas. Like I think Srila Rupa Goswami mentions clearly, Athochande Trayastrimshad Bhavaya Vyabhicharina. There Trayastrimshad means 33. And Visheshan Abhimukhena Charanti Sthayiram Prati. Sthayi Bhava or Bhava or Rasa that a sadhaka may experience at a very high level. These Vyabhichari Bhavas, theoretically they go opposite. Charanti, it's called move against the Sthayi Bhava. But when going against the Sthayi Bhava doesn't mean the Sthayi Bhava is finished. The Sthayi Bhava becomes even better. It becomes even stronger. So they are called Vyabhichari Bhava. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur defines these. So some of us who want to study these better, here is what it is. V stand for Vishesha in Vyabhichari. V stand for Vishesha, very special, exquisite. And then it is said Abhi, Vyabhichari, V and Abhi. Abhi stands for Abhimukhya. Abhimukhya means it is very, very important and it supports and follows. And it says, how does it follow? Chara stands for Charanti. So that means those bhavas which are Charanti, which move against the Sthayi Bhava, while nourishing it in a special way, Visheshena Abhimukhyena, nourishing the Sthayi Bhava or the Bhava or the Rasa of Bhakti in a very, very special way. Although they may look to be appearing to be going against, they are called Vyabhichari Bhavas. So there are 33 such Vyabhichari Bhavas. So some of them are explained here. I will explain only one, which is Vishada. Vishada, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Ishtana Bhakti Prarabdha Karya Siddhi Vipattitaha Apararadhido Pyasyad Anutapo Vishannata Atropaya Sahayanu Sandhischinta Charodanam Vilapa Shvasa Vaivarnya Mukha Shoshadayopicha. Remorse. Like Madhavendra Puri is saying, what have I done? I wasted my life. Durdaiva mi drishamiha janinanu raga. Like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada lamented, looking at the translation of Bhaktivinoda Thakur of the Shikshashtakam towards his last few days on this planet. So remorse or despair, or Prabhupada himself saying that I am an offender, I have used strong language against all of you when he was on the last day, in his last pastime in Vrindavan. So it's remorse or despair arising from failure to attain one's desired object. Who is the desired object? Krishna. Or anything associated with Krishna. From failure to accomplish a task. If we don't do a service properly in for Krishna's or Guru's pleasure, we should lament, we should have remorse, we should have despair. From occurrence of a disaster or from committing an offense is called Vishada. In this state, there is worry, search for a means of accomplishing, search for assistance, meaning we take help of others to overcome this situation. Weeping, mourning. Weeping is like, like in simple Hindi, it is like something like siskiyala, whatever they call it. That kind of a thing. Of course, the original version. And mourning is like, saying people create heavy noises coming out of that. I don't want to, if I mourn, it will sound like a donkey's. I don't want to get into it. So, heavy breathing, nishwasa. Yastyaika nishwasita. The Supreme Lord's nishwasa creates universes. The pure devotee's nishwasa creates the Supreme Lord's reciprocation. Because he means the universe to them. Change of color and drying of the mouth. There are acharyas who say that when Sri Rupa Manjari Pada was sung for Srila Prabhupada in the last days, his color started changing. We can't conceive this. Our colors will change only during these 5-6 months when we go out in the heat. Otherwise there is no reason. So, let us take an example of Vishada. Yathava Syamantakam aham hritva gato ghora syamantakam Karavai taranim kamva kshipto vaitarani manu. So this is mentioned by Akrura. Akrura is lamenting that he was involved in the stealing of the Samantaka jewel, it's mentioned, because of bad association, got in that situation. He is saying, I have fallen into the mouth of terrible hell. Having fallen in the Vaitarani river, what boat should I use to cross over it? Akrura is lamenting. This is one form of lamenting. Or we can talk about Dainya or Dinata. This is a very famous shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, Trasena yatha prathame abhidravati mam isha starastapta yaso vibho kamam dahatumam naatha mame garbho nipatyatam. Uttara is praying, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate. This Brahmastra is coming towards me. Please protect, even if it may take my life, please protect my embryo, because he is going to be the ruler of the Kuru Vamsha. He's going to be the ruler of the universe. So she is in Dainya Bhava. And Srila Rupa Goswami talks about Dainyava Bodhika, a form of prayer. Those of you who are studying Bhakti Shastri, when it comes to nectar of devotion, we talk about various types of prayers. Samprarthanatmika, Lalasa, Mai, Dainyava Bodhika. Dainyava Bodhika is a Dainyava Bodha. Is coming in this form of humility, Dinata. And humility is very, very crucial. The meek shall inherit the earth, says the Bible. Prabhupada quotes this. Humility is most critical for us to progress in Krishna consciousness. Humility is not the mere absence of disrespect or towards somebody who doesn't disrespect you. Humility means really genuine mood. Srila Prabhupada defines in the 13th chapter the absence of the anxiety to be honored by others. That is called humility. It's okay if everybody says Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams and everything. Sometimes Krishna puts us in situations where it is really tested. Just when you say, no, you don't need to offer me obeisances, the next time he won't even look at you and walk and say, how dare he not say Hare Krishna to me? So we get tested with our false egos. One Prabhupada disciple told this to one of my early mentors in Krishna consciousness. He said, even after initiation, sometimes we become puffed up Das and false ego Devidasi. Puffed up Das, It's like, I remember sometimes when people would call and say, Rishi Kumar bol rahe hain, Rishi Kumara Das bol raha hu. So, Das is also out of some, because I'm initiated, so there is some pride. So, it's one of those things. And it's not easy for such people to attract Sri Krishna. The Supreme Lord likes humility. Because he is himself so humble, washing the feet of even the Kauravas and all the guests. He is himself so humble when Bhrigu kicked on his chest. So he is setting that example. So how can we attract the Supreme Lord with our overconfidence and our pride? Therefore, Dinata or Dainya is a quality. Vishada, lamentation, despair, remorse, despondency. These are all great Vyabhichari bhavas that come. Not to be imitated, they come at a very, very high level. The Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is exhibiting many of these, one after another in sequence. They come and go and come and go. They come in waves for the Supreme Lord. And we can never hope to copy this. If we copy this, that is why it's called Sahajiya. Sahajiya means cheap. One who tries to be attracted to Krishna and Maya at the same time. He is called a Sahajiya. So that option we should eschew, and we should try to look at devotional service is Krishna Akarshana, it attracts Krishna. And Krishnaika Sharanam is the defining quality of Bhakti, among the 26 qualities of Vaishnava. So, I want to conclude today's class with a fervent hope that we follow Srila Prabhupada, who gloriously presented this Chaitanya Charitamrita even before the complete 10th and 11th and 12th cantos, because he was very particular that the topmost emotions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had to be presented for all of us. In order for us as Sajatiya Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are able to understand this mood, imbibe to the extent we are allowed as per Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Grantara Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ka Viki Jai. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we have run out of time. We just have 2 minutes, but we can request, we can take one question and some comment by the seniors. Question, yes, Baleshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for a nice.
I can't hear you.
Hare
I
Krishna.
can, others won't be able.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in today's purport, Srila Prabhupada writes in text 35 the meaning of Nirveda, and he explained from the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu that one may feel unhappiness and separation as well as jealousy and lamentation due to not discharging one's duties. So, this jealousy I did not understand. Prabhuji, why he feels jealous?
Yeah. So Nirveda essentially is that, somebody else is serving Krishna very, very nicely. I am not able to serve, not that he shouldn't serve. Material jealousy takes the form where saying, how dare he serve? He shouldn't serve. Like I remember, I used to work in the newspaper industry for 13 years. Some of the things newspapers would do as part of competition is that in the morning they would throw nails on the path of the truck of the other newspaper. So I am not able to serve is one thing. The other person shouldn't be able to serve. That is a form of material jealousy. The form of what is the feeling that is mentioned? Nirveda. What Nirveda is essentially about, that person is serving so nicely. How I wish I can also serve like that. It's a sense of competition which results in my trying to improve myself for Krishna's pleasure. Doesn't matter if the other person continues the service. There is enough room in Goloka for everyone to serve. And the move Prabhupada talks about it, and I heard his Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, revered spiritual master, talk about this, that in Vraja, when the bumblebee tries to sing for Krishna, the bumblebees can't sing, it's called Brahmari, that Brahmari, even that pranayam is like that. So then, all the koel and all the nightingales and all those birds, very good, please sing for Krishna, come on, well done, go for it. So that sort of mood is there in Goloka. So even if somebody else is trying to sing, there is one saying put behind some trucks also in English. Don't get mad, get even. So if you don't try to defeat the other person, you try to do something to please Krishna on your own and try your best. And your despondency is because look at that person, he's serving so nicely. I am not able to serve like him. That's in there is jealousy. Not that no, he shouldn't serve. That in is rooted in dvesha. Does it make sense? Thank you. Vaishnava, senior Vaishnava could comment. Prabhuji wants to say something.
हरे कृष्णा, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। तो ये जो 32, 33, 34 ये 3 प्यारे हैं जिनका तात्पर्य नहीं है, प्रभुपाद ने तात्पर्य नहीं दिया है। और जो 35 का तात्पर्य दिया है बहुत गहरा है, तो प्रभु जी ने चर्चा की है, तो उसमें तो हमारा अधिकार ही नहीं है। 32 में, 33 में, 34 में कुछ बातें समझ में आती हैं, तो वो मैं थोड़ा सा इसको जो है
प्लीज
प्रकाश डाल रहा हूँ। तो राधा रानी का भाव है, चैतन्य महाप्रभु राधा भाव में ये कह रहे हैं, तो कृष्ण गुण चरित्र, कृष्ण का जो गुण है और चरित्र है, तो ये सुधा सार स्वाद विनिंदन है। विनिंदन का मतलब निंदा करता है। जो कृष्ण का गुण और कृष्ण का जो चरित्र है, ये निंदा करता है किसका? अमृत के सार के स्वाद की निंदा करता है। तो कृष्ण का गुण और चरित्र का जो स्वाद है, तो वो जो है अमृत के सार के स्वाद की निंदा करता है। अब कृष्ण के गुण और चरित्र का जो स्वाद है हमें कैसे मिलता है? बोल करके। कृष्ण का गुण हम जब बोलते हैं, कृष्ण के चरित्र जब हम बोलते हैं, तो वो जो स्वाद हमें मिलता है तो जीवा से ही मिलता है। जीवा से हमको स्वाद मिलता है कृष्ण के गुण और चरित्र जब हम बोलते हैं। और वो जो अगर हम वो अमृत का सार का जो स्वाद लें, तो फिर वो उसकी निंदा हम करेंगे। तो कृष्ण का गुण चरित्र ही निंदा करता है, या जो व्यक्ति गुण चरित्र का स्वाद लेगा तो वो निंदा करेगा। तो फिर कहते हैं चैतन्य महाप्रभु, तार स्वाद ये न जाने, उस स्वाद को जो ना जाने, कृष्ण के गुण चरित्र का स्वाद, यानी बोलने का जो स्वाद है, जैसे प्रभु जी ने बोला तो इनको स्वाद मिला, तो कथा करने का भी जो एक स्वाद होता है ना कृष्ण गुण चरित्र का, तो जो स्वाद जो नहीं जानता है, जन्म या ना मैल के नहीं, तो जन्म पैदा होते क्यों नहीं मर गया वो, राधा रानी कहते हैं या राधा भाव में चैतन्य महाप्रभु जन्म लेते क्यों नहीं मर गया, अगर उसने ये स्वाद नहीं लिया। और से रसना भे की जेहवा सम, उसकी जो रचना, उसकी जेहवा है वो मेढक की जेहवा के समान है, कि मेढक का जो है जो रचना है, जेहवा है, वो किसी गुण चरित्र का स्वाद तो लेती नहीं है, वो टर टर बोलता है और उसको स्वाद मिलता है काहे का, जहर का, मृत्यु का स्वाद मिलता है उसको, कि वो सांप को बुलाता है और मृत्यु उसको मिलती है। तो वो स्वाद जो है, उसकी जो जेहवा है वो मेढक की जेहवा के समान है। इसके बाद फिर राधा भाव में चैतन्य कहते हैं मृग मद नीलोत्पल, तो एक तो कस्तूरी की मद यानी सुगंध, कस्तूरी की सुगंध है, तो ये बहुत तीव्र होती है, कस्तूरी की सुगंध बहुत तीव्र होती है। और नीलोत्पल, और नीला जो कमल है उसकी सुगंध बहुत तीव्र होती है, और जब मिलने यानी दोनों मिल जाएं तो फिर वो सुगंध कैसी होगी, ये परिमल, जब दोनों मिल जाएं, नीला कमल की सुगंध और कस्तूरी की सुगंध दोनों मिल जाएं, जय हरे तार गर्भ मान, तो इस सुगंध का भी जो है गर्भ और मान जो हरण करता है वो क्या है, हे न कृष्ण अंग गंध, कृष्ण के शरीर की सुगंध, कृष्ण के शरीर की जो सुगंध है वो कस्तूरी की सुगंध और नीले कमल की सुगंध को मिलकर के जो सुगंध बनती है उसका गर्भ और मान हरण करती है। और जार नहीं ये संबंध, जिसने इस सुगंध को नहीं लिया तो कहते उसकी नाक कैसी है, उसकी नाक कैसी है, वो श्वास जो लेती है उसकी नाक कैसी है, भस्रार समान, लोहार की धौंकनी के समान है। लोहार की धौंकनी सांस लेती है, सांस लेती है, उसको कुछ भी स्वाद नहीं मिलता, उसको कुछ भी सुगंध नहीं मिलती है ना। तो लोहार की धौंकनी के समान उसकी श्वास है जिसने कृष्ण के शरीर की सुगंध नहीं प्राप्त की। इसके बाद फिर कृष्ण कर पद तल, कृष्ण के हाथ के तलवे और पैर के तलवे, कोटि चंद्र सुशीतल, करोड़ चंद्रमा के समान शीतल है। तो गर्मी के दिनों में हमें शीतल का जो है मतलब लगता है कि भाई हाँ मिले, कुछ शीतल मिले, कुछ है स्पर्श मिले, शीतल स्पर्श मिले। तो चूँकि भारत गर्मी प्रधान देश है तो शीतलता का ज़्यादा आदर किया जाता है। लेकिन जो विदेश हैं जहाँ ठंडी होती है तो वहाँ पर गर्मी का ज़्यादा आदर किया जाता है, भी गरम गरम हो, वार्म रिस्पेक्ट, वार्म बोलते ना, वार्म वेलकम यहाँ पर हम बोलते शीतल, आपने जो है बड़ा शीतल स्वागत किया है, तो शीतल का जो है हम ज़्यादा आदर करते हैं। तो राधा भाव में चैतन्य कहते हैं कि कृष्ण के हाथ और कृष्ण के पैरों का जो स्पर्श है वो करोड़ों चंद्रमा के समान शीतल लगता है, जो गर्मी दूर होती है। संसार दावानल, इतनी भीषण गर्मी, संसार की तीनों प्रकार के ताप की ज्वाला, तो वो जो है दूर होती है। तो वो है तार स्पर्श, ये निस्पर्श मणि, तो उनके स्पर्श जो कृष्ण के कर तल और पद तल का जो स्पर्श है वो कैसा है, स्पर्श मणि के समान है। स्पर्श मणि जो पारस मणि बोलते हैं, स्पर्श मणि बोलते हैं, तो लोहा को स्पर्श कराएं तो कैसा लगता है, सोना बन जाता है। तो कितना बड़ा परिवर्तन होता है, तो बहुत बड़ा परिवर्तन तो है कि स्पर्श से ही लोहा सोना बन जाए। तो वो परिवर्तन जैसे पारस मणि का जो है लोहे को छूनाने से होता है, ऐसा परिवर्तन जो है अनुभव होता है। कृष्ण के हाथ का स्पर्श, कृष्ण के हाथ के तलवे का स्पर्श, पैर के तलवे का स्पर्श पारस मणि के स्पर्श के समान होता है, बहुत बड़ा परिवर्तन होता है। और तार स्पर्श नहीं यार, जिसने वो स्पर्श नहीं किया है सो से जाओ छार खार, तो वो जाए छार खार। छार खार एक प्रकार का नरक है जिसमें भागवत में बताया छार करदम। तो छार जो है जलाने वाला होता है, जैसे एसिड होता है उसी प्रकार से अल्कली होता है। तो छार का मतलब अल्कली, तो वो जो है छार करदम नरक होता है, जो उसकी जलाने वाला होता है वो करदम कीचड़ है, छार का कीचड़ है। तो उसमें व्यक्ति को गिराया जाता है तो वो जलाता है, वो बहुत जलाता है। तो राधा भाव में चैतन्य कहते हैं कि जिसने कृष्ण के चरण और जो है हाथों का स्पर्श नहीं किया है तो वो जाए छार कर्दम नरक में जाए, उसको जो है वो जलन की अनुभूति हो जो छार कर्दम नरक में होती है। और सही वपु लोह समझ जाने, उसका जो शरीर लोहे के समान समझो। कि जैसे लोहा है तो लोहे को आप जो है कोई किसी कोमल चीज़ से स्पर्श कराएं तो कुछ उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि लोहा इतना कठोर होता है, कुछ फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता, है ना। तो कृष्ण का जो है जो हाथ और पैरों के जो तलवे हैं तो वो इतने कोमल हैं और इतने शीतल हैं, तो इनके स्पर्श से जो है जो प्राप्त होता है, अनुभूति प्राप्त होती है। तो जिसको नहीं प्राप्त हुई है उसका शरीर जो है लोहे के समान है, कि मतलब किसी कोमल चीज़ से स्पर्श कराओ, शीतल चीज़ से स्पर्श कराओ तो लोहे को कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता, क्या लोहा ही है, तो उसका शरीर लोहे के समान है। तो इस प्रकार से राधा रानी 32वें श्लोक में जो स्वाद है उसका वर्णन करते हैं कि जो स्वाद मिलता है कृष्ण गुण और चरित्र का, तो वो एक स्वाद का वर्णन करते हैं। और 33वें श्लोक में राधा रानी जो वर्णन करती हैं वो गंध का वर्णन करती, गंध अगर हो तो ऐसी गंध हो, कृष्ण के शरीर की सुगंध हो। और 34वें श्लोक में स्पर्श का वर्णन करती कि स्पर्श अगर हो तो ऐसा स्पर्श हो, कृष्ण के हाथों के, कृष्ण के पैरों की जो है कोमलता का स्पर्श हो। तो इस प्रकार से इंद्रियों का जो है ये स्पर्श। और राधा रानी जो है यहाँ निंदा कर रही हैं, तो यहाँ निंदा ही कर रही हैं कि वो जो है जाए छार कर नरक में जाए। उसमें कहा कि उसकी नासिका जो है लोहार के धोखने के समान है, और वो जो है पैदा होते क्यों ना मर गया। एक प्रकार से ईर्ष्या भी है, ईर्ष्या कर रहे हैं राधा रानी। तो ऐसे व्यक्ति से ईर्ष्या करते हैं जो ना कृष्ण के इस जो रूप का, सौंदर्य का, स्पर्श का जो अनुभव नहीं करता है, नहीं करना चाहता है, तो राधा रानी उससे ईर्ष्या करती हैं या निंदा करती हैं, यही भाव।
थैंक यू ब्रदर। One thing that comes to my mind to conclude is Golakira Premadan Harinan Sankirtan Rotina Janmilo Kinetai. This is the mood of our acharyas. At least we should develop the lamentation that we haven't developed taste for the holy name. We can start with that, if not for the form. Krantara Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji.